In this edition of Coming Soon from PMDG, we've got a whole bunch of information for you on our efforts to get the 777 into Microsoft Marketplace. We've got another build coming for the 777 fleet via the PMDG Operations Center. The 777-200LR is wrapping up beta testing, and some thoughts on Flight Sim Expo 2025. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It's Rob coming to you from the corner of the office here at PMDG. It's been a couple of weeks since I've had an opportunity to sit down and get you updated on what's going on behind the scenes here. It started about 3 weeks ago. I had to run out to St. Louis to do a post-heavy check acceptance flight on an airplane coming out of an MRO there. That took a couple of days, was interesting. They always are. From there, we pivoted right up to Providence, Rhode Island, where a portion of the PMDG team was present for Flight Sim Expo 2025. We'll talk about that in just a minute. And then we had a holiday week here in the United States. I did give the team a long weekend out of that in order to celebrate the U.S. Independence Day holiday. And then this week, man, I tell you, I spent the week playing dodgem with thunderstorms that were taller than any I have seen in 30 years of flying. It was not as much fun as flying normally is, I tell you. So let's talk about Microsoft Flight Simulator Marketplace. We have a long-standing relationship with Microsoft Flight Simulator Marketplace for 2020. And on that platform right now, we have two updates that we expect to release on Thursday this coming week. One of those is for the 777-300ER. The other one is for the 777F. That will bring both of those products up to the very latest build 116. And as I said, I expect those to be out on Thursday, as we have already tagged them as ready for release. The 777-200ER, we have tagged that as ready for release as well. We're not sure that's going to make that Thursday release. We might have missed the cutoff in there, so it might be a week later. We'll see how that goes. For those of you who are in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and at this point, who isn't, a lot of us are eagerly awaiting the 777 appearing in Microsoft Flight Simulator Marketplace for 2024. We have both the 777F and the 777-300ER tagged and ready for release on that platform. We hope those will release on Thursday this coming week. The 777-200ER is the problem child. There's some issues we've run into in the background of Microsoft Flight Simulator Marketplace that have hung up each of our 2024 products as we've been trying to get them released. The 200ER is really just having a difficult gestation period. Microsoft knows about it. We know about it. We're working on it together. There's a little bit of lag in the communication back and forth, but we're hoping that that one will be available here really soon. Quick note of caution. For those of you who have purchased a PMDG 777 in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, the upgrade in 2024 is no cost to you. When we get the 200ER released in 2020, if it doesn't appear for you right away in 24, don't panic. As soon as we get that one unstuck, it will appear there. So don't worry about that. You're not going to have to rebuy it or anything like that. You'll have anything you purchased in the 777 fleet in Microsoft Flight Simulator Marketplace 2020 will be available to you in 2024. There just might be a little bit of lag between those two. On the PMDG Operations Center side, this is where we can distribute products directly to our customers, those of you who purchase from us at pmdg.com. This is a little bit easier for us to work with, obviously, because we control the infrastructure for it. We have a build 116 for each of the 777-300ER, the F, and the 200ER coming to you for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We are anticipating pushing those out to you on Tuesday of next week. We were supposed to push those out 2 weeks ago before Flight Sim Expo, but we had a bunch of team in motion a little bit sooner than we thought we were going to have them in motion in order to get them all to Providence. And I don't really like to do releases while we don't have people in place to support you if something goes wrong. So we just kind of held off on that. Expect those to come to you on Tuesday of next week. That'll get you up to date with the very latest. We have a build that went to the beta testers last night, a build 117 of the 300ER that you will never see, but I'm telling you about it because this is the first full beta test of the entire new sound module for the 777-300ER. We promised you when we released a couple of months ago that we were working on a full range of sound updates for all of the 777s. The first full beta test of that started last night. It's going to need a number of rounds of beta tests. That's what we do beta testing for. But the exciting news is we're getting closer to pushing that out to you. It will be the 777-300ER and the 777F and the 777LR first, because those are a common engine type. So that makes it a lot easier for us to work with. The 200ER sound set is in process. It's being worked on, and that will come a little bit later. All right, the 777-200LR, let's talk about that one. That beta test is just about wrapped up. We're really happy with how it's going. That we were expecting to release on the 15th of July. That's still kind of in the plan, but we have had a lot of the team in motion for quite a while, and then gave everybody some time off just to kind of catch their breath and get caught up. We're going to take a good solid look at whether we release that to you next week. If it's not next week, it'll be early the following week. The product really is done. We just want to make sure that we aren't missing anything before we hand that off to you. You can see me glancing down at my notes because I can't keep this all straight in my head. When we last got together a couple of weeks ago, we were just getting ready to spool everybody up to head up to Flight Sim Expo in Providence, Rhode Island. That was something we haven't traditionally done at PMDG. While we have been a diamond sponsor of Flight Sim Expo for many, many years, and we have been a significant contributor to the show, we have never actually had a booth where you could come sit down and talk to us. That's in large part because of me. I did a lot of trade shows during my management career in the airline business, and I'm just kind of not a fan of them. But the team, after visiting Flight Sim Expo in 2023 and then going to Flight Sim Weekend earlier this year, the team really pushed hard for us to have a booth, to participate in the show a bit more fully. So we did that this year as an experiment. And I got to tell you, it was a good idea. I'm glad we were there. I'll tell you why. I don't like trade shows any more than I've ever liked trade shows. That's just me. What I really enjoyed, however, was that unlike previous years at FS Expo, where we have sort of wandered the floor and bumped into whoever we bumped into, there was a location where you could find us. And many of you took the time to come, reach out to us, say hello, tell us your flight simming background, tell us your aviation background, share with us your enthusiasm for our products, your passion for flight simming. And, we really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that most, I think, because this was really the first time that a number of the members of the PMDG team have gotten to interface with you directly and to hear your story and to hear your passion in person, face to face, in real time. And that was really enjoyable. To all of you who came out to Flight Sim Expo 2025, to those who came by our booth and spent some time with us, I want to say thank you. You really made our week. You made our year. It was really nice to hear your enthusiasm and your excitement for what we're doing. We did our best to answer the questions that we could answer for you. We hoped you gained a little bit out of that. There was some wink and nudge kind of stuff that went on. A few of you might have been able to draw some conclusions about things that are coming. The questions we heard most often, because it's no secret, the questions we heard most often were, when is the 737NG going to be available in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024? When are we going to get the MAX done? When's PMDG going to do a 787? And what other projects do we have in the offing? When is 747 going to be done? So those were the questions we answered the most. We took all of the questions that we were asked when we got everybody back in the office after the show, and we spent a little bit of time discussing them. We are having some conversations about realigning pieces of our development strategy. So you'll no doubt be hearing about that as things go forward in the future. Other stuff that was fun about Flight Sim Expo. We got to spend some time with some of our peer developers, folks we've known for many years that we've worked with for even longer. We got to have our traditional sit-down meeting with our peers at Navigraph, which is always a ton of fun. Magnus and I have been promising one another for, maybe 5 years now that he and I are going to get together one summer. We're going to go sailing. It was supposed to be last summer. then it was going to be this summer. I was certain it was going to be this summer, but now I'm absolutely certain it's going to be next summer. So Magnus, plan on that. We also got to spend some time with the folks at WinWing. WinWing is a tremendous partner for us. We are very excited about the hardware they're putting together. We got to spend a bunch of time sitting down talking through strategy for ensuring that our software continues to highlight their hardware well and vice versa. For those of us who've been in simming since, well, in my case, since 1982, seeing the hardware developers come along as far as they've come over the past few years is really, really exciting. The hardware has always kind of been a tough area for flight simming. And over the last few years, a number of hardware developers who had their wares on display at Flight Sim Expo have really made great strides in bringing tremendous high quality hardware that's easy to work with. WinWing is a strategic partner of ours, and we're very excited to be working with them. There's a whole lot of great stuff going on. So if you have not had a chance to look at some of the videos of walking the floor at Flight Sim Expo, strongly recommend you dig into YouTube and find a couple, because there is no matter what your hardware needs might be, there's a vendor out there who can help you out now. Pretty exciting time to be a simmer. Other things that were fun, I mentioned that we got to spend some time with peer developers. We got to spend some time with developers that we know through reputation only. We had just a great conversation with our peers over at Bluebird Simulations. They've got a wonderful 757 that they're working on. If you haven't looked at it, go look at it. It's pretty darn cool what they're doing. Not only that, but they're just a good bunch of guys. And if there were any gals on the team, I apologize. I only talked to guys while I was there, so that's why I said that. Anyway, great team, a lot of fun to spend time with. We had a good couple of laughs, and it highlights for me something that I say a lot that's really important to me, and that is that PMDG has a really good relationship with most of our peer developers and all of the peer developers that we've actually had the opportunity to meet face to face. That's something that we really enjoy in this community. And I know that there's corners of the internet that like to try to create drama, and that like this developer doesn't like that developer, whatever. But, for the most part, that stuff's imaginary. It's not actually true. We really enjoyed sitting down and spending some time with them. There were a number of streamers who were present at the show, and it was sort of fun to have them come by and say hello. I have a long-standing history of popping into various streams and doing a little bit of polite and friendly trolling from in the chat window of the stream. It was nice to get to spend some time with many of you face to face, and I appreciated the humor that you brought to us as you came by to say hello. So thank you for that. For those of you who might be looking to come next year, we did have a whole bunch of swag that we gave away. We had the famous now PMDG clicky pens. We brought 2,000 of these to Flight Sim Expo, and we gave them all away. Fortunately for me, I had one sitting on my desk. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten one. Most of the members of the PMDG team thought that there would be plenty left over at the end of the show, and they would grab one on the way home. So most of them don't have them. So we're going to order another batch. We also had a bunch of T-shirts. We did not sell T-shirts. We weren't quite sure what the demand for those would be. We're having a conversation about whether we should do a merch store or not. I always worry when we start talking about getting involved in something that we don't do as part of our core business, because I don't want to become a merch store that develops airplane software. We need to stay focused on what we do, because that's what we're good at, and distractions are always bad. But we got a lot of feedback from folks that you'd love to see some PMDG swag that you could order from our store. We're looking into that. We'll keep you posted on how that goes. But there's some fun things that we could do. We had a bunch of stickers there that folks loved. We had some stickers there poking fun at people who poke fun at us on the internet. So, but you had to be there in order to see them and know what they were. They'll be there next year. If you are on the fence about attending Flight Sim Expo 2026, we strongly encourage you to go. We'd love to see you there. We're going to have a whole bunch of new stuff to give away to you next year. And of course, just to have the opportunity to sit down with you face to face and hear your enthusiasm for flight simming and for our products. That's what makes the hobby as valuable as it is. It's what brings the most enjoyment to us. So we hope that you will put it on your calendar for next year, and that we will see you at Flight Sim Expo 2026. All right, so a number of you have observed that I only do these updates in a Hawaiian shirt, which is true. That's kind of my uniform for the summer. So I decided to do things a little bit differently today, and I am not doing this update in a Hawaiian shirt. That's all I have for you this week. Frequency change approved. Get out of here.